Well, today for Carol and Topol Talk, we're welcoming Marci Miller,
Hi.
who is one of the stars of Days of Our Lives. You play Abigail Devereaux DeMira.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes.
And you've been on the show now for...
It's been about a year and a half that I've been working. My air date and 1 year anniversary was just last week. So
I was going to say it was around now, right?
Yep. Because at the Day of Days event last year, they just announced me, and because I had only been airing for a couple weeks, something like that.
Right,
So.
they introduced you as part of the finale, the surprise guests in the finale, which we really loved. I was there last year. I was privileged to see that.
Oh, awesome.
And it was wonderful, and it was fun.
Yeah, totally.
You seem to have a great on-screen chemistry with your co-star, Billy Flynn, who plays Chad DeMira.
Yeah.
Did you work to make that happen, or did it just seem to really just sort of organically?
I think, from the very beginning when we had the test, I think it was evident that we clicked well together. And, I always say, like, there's a certain amount of respect that we have for one another as actors and as people. I think that plays into it. I think just being an open personality, we kind of touched on that earlier just in chatting,
Right.
like just being an open personality to whatever is in front of you, and just listening really well and trusting the fact that whatever you say, the person across from you is going to respond in a way that makes sense, and you're going to make something. And, as actors, you do all kinds of things to get yourself to a place of being able to do all of that. But the second I met him, I felt good. It felt natural.
And, it's interesting because you can see that respect comes off on screen.
Yeah.
As an on-screen couple, you seem to be an on-screen couple that demonstrates respect, which I think, first of all, as a fan, I like to see that reflected on screen.
Yeah.
And not just with the veteran couples who've been together for 20 or 30 years, but with the newer couples. It's a refreshing thing for young people to see.
Oh, good.
It's
yeah.
nice. It's nice.
I think so too. And I think that he and I, we both have, we're both married in real life, and we both have a very specific way that we are intentional about those relationships. They're both really important to us. Like, he adores Gina and I adore Ryan, and having that real life relationship, we're able to both kind of bring those aspects to the on-screen relationship, and I think that helps a lot.
I would imagine so, because you can bring some of that to your character.
Yeah.
Now, Abigail, who came back being in recovery from mental illness.
Yes.
Did you have to study? Did you do any research before you came back? Because you were at a very interesting place when you returned, truly being in the recovery stage, trying to find your way back to normalcy.
Yeah, I did do some research. My mother's a nurse, and I have friends. It helps a lot. And I initially was a nursing major in college. That's what I thought I was going to be, and then things went crazy. But I did. I peppered her with several questions, watched some episodes to kind of get a feel for, like, what Kate's version of that downward spiral kind of looked like, so that I could get a feel for it. And then it was a funny thing because I had to know those things about Abby, but I didn't really have to play them myself. I needed the information to have, so that I knew what I was thinking about and what I was remembering, and, like, what foundation I was working from for the rest of what was about to happen.
Sure, because that was Abigail's memories.
Abigail's memories,
not Marci's, but
exactly.
Abigail's, so you had to somehow get that in there.
Exactly, and it is interesting in this kind of a genre because you work so much every day, and part of the beauty of the fact that we work every day is that all of these things, I actually experience them. I've experienced so much every single day of what this character lives and experiences, and so that's really cool to actually literally physically just go through everything, and then you just really start to build over time, like, something that is really complex and really just big and full in a way. So there was some stuff that I had to do some research regarding before this all got going. So.
And it seems that Abigail has taken on a very different role in many ways than she had before, because Abigail's almost the anchor of the DeMira family in terms of the person who has the most common sense. I mean, of all the things, she's now the one who, at least as we see on screen now, can handle the drama they get into.
Yeah. Yeah.
While the rest of them are sort of going berserk and pointing fingers and accusing each other of everything.
Totally. And I have to, I mean, there's a couple of things. I mean, I've always thought, like, because Abigail had, this is what I think, because Abigail's been through so much and she's, like, gone through all of this, like, life-altering experiences, et cetera, she kind of doesn't get caught up in the, like, the bull crap anymore. You know, she sees, like, what's really important, and she's able to dissociate herself from drama and emotional reactions, and able to just, like, really keep what is important and try to help the people that are around her do the same thing. And, you know, I have to give Ron Carlivati a lot of credit for allowing me to play that kind of role in the DeMera family, because Abigail has historically been all over the place in a lot of different ways, and so it's really cool to step into her new foundation in her new life and have for her to have some clarity about what's going on. It's really cool.
Well, and she certainly had, before Ben, she was just one trauma
after another,
including when her father died.
Absolutely.
I mean, she very much was guilt and trauma and drama, and now we see a maturity in the Marci Miller version of it, which, you know, being an older married woman now, making Abigail truly have a grounded life with a child, I think it fits. Yeah. It's playing well.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. Good.
The other thing we notice is Abigail also seems to almost be the conscience of Andre.
Oh, yeah.
Which is fascinating to see, because those of us who watched for several decades remember cuckoo crazy Andre.
Sure.
Who, you know, the word stable could never have been associated in the same paragraph with him, let alone the same sentence.
Yeah.
And now, every time, it's almost like Abigail walks in a room and Andre's like, okay, Abigail's here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to behave and do the best. How did that happen on purpose, or did that just seem to be where the characters ended up going?
You know, that is, I'm not always entirely sure. I think for Abigail, because she doesn't have a father, to have an older man around, there's a paternal quality there, you know, like she's...
Oh, that's interesting. I
her,
thought of that.
Like, more than a brother-in-law, I think she would see him more as like an uncle or something like that.
Okay.
And you know, I don't know what really drew Andre to Abigail, whether he was drawn by her goodness or her innocence, or like the love that she has for the people around her, but he helped her during that time where she was away, and really became an anchor for her in a lot of ways, and wanted really, it's like Andre had a complete change of heart, you know. And I just love that relationship, and I love Teo Penglis. We just really get along. And then there's, you know, I never know how much the writers just see, you know, from the very beginning, I felt like he and I really worked well together and had a kind of an understanding. So maybe that's something that the writers see and then try to write and cultivate that. Yeah, it could be a lot of things, I think.
Because I think, you know, that's one of the things I know a lot of fans, when I look at what's happening on social media, that's a commentary they talk about a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, they of course talk about him, the character of Andre and Kate, because they're married.
Right.
Even though it's a marriage of convenience. But when they talk about Abigail and Andre, it's very much supportive of that very much familial relationship that was so unexpected. Yeah. You know, when Andre brought her back, we all thought this was sort of his grandstanding to become the head of DeMera or whatever. Right. And instead, it became clear that it was so much different, and it was neat. Yeah. To see.
I agree. And he would agree also. We both really enjoy the fact that everybody enjoys that relationship.
Which is, that's wonderful. I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you know it too, that you've seen it. Yeah. Now, with Days going on, we see them having peace and quiet, and they're like a happy couple now, Chad and Abigail. Yeah. Can we hope for at least a little while?
A little while, yeah.
Little's good. It's
a little while, yeah, just a little while. I mean, before I'm trying to think of like like around the like New Year's Eve time-ish, somewhere or shortly after, or something like that, things start to get
Exciting.
strange. Yeah, exciting. We'll
I'll
call it exciting.
I'll call it exciting because
like
that's
exciting.
sort of a nondescript word.
Yes, we'll call it exciting. I like that.
Because it's sort of strange to see a happy couple.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at that show in particular, Days of Our Lives. You say, okay, there's Bill and Susan Hayes,
right,
who play Doug and Julie,
right,
and then I have to sit back and say, okay, John and Marlena, but they never actually remarried. So there's like, and you go through the list, and you're back to Doug and Julie, and then Chad and Abigail.
Right.
There's like not a whole lot of happy in terms of truly happily married.
Right. Right.
And that's kind of a neat thing to see too. We're really enjoying our peace and quiet. I'm glad we get a few more weeks of it.
Yes, yeah.
So we get some holiday cheer, truly Thanksgiving for them.
Yep, truly Thanksgiving.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And that'll be nice. It'll be nice to go through the new year and sort of know that that's going to be.
Yes,
so thank you to Ron Carlivati.
Yes, Ron Carlivati for a gazillion reasons, but
for giving us a lot of nice Chad and Abigail scenes where we can see them really becoming the couple they should be.
Yeah, and that's really fun for us. I know Billy talked a lot over on Day of Days about the fact that, you know, we just really enjoy having the time to be happy. It's so rare, and you know, I've been here for a year and a half, and some of the scenes that we're getting to have now, these very simple couple-y type of interactions, we haven't really had much of that since I started, you know, and so it's been interesting, just as Marci and Billy, to kind of get to be like, oh, we're happy, like, let's figure this out, and what does it look like when Chad and Abby are happy, and what are the things that we can do to keep it really interesting and fun, and keep people engaged and excited about it. And he's really good about, he's really, really great about coming up with quirky little ideas when he does all the dancing and the spinning and all this fun. He's really creative.
I was going to say, it sounds like he does a little ad-libbing.
For sure, yeah.
And it doesn't seem, I was going to say, and it doesn't seem like you're opposed to it, like you go along for the ride.
For sure. Because it makes you have like very genuine reactions. I didn't know he was going to do that, so my reactions are very authentic, and that's what acting and storytelling is. You know, we're all trying to just be as realistic and human as we can, and so the man could, I'd fall him off a cliff. I mean, he's ridiculous in a wonderful way.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great.
Yeah.
Now, I've asked this before from other people, so I have to ask you.
Okay.
And I realize you've only been on the soap for working on it now a year and a half.
Yeah.
And been on for a year.
Yeah.
What has been for you the most challenging story that you have addressed so far? And if it's something that's going forward, maybe something we've seen, and just say it, but my most challenging is yet to come, and you're going to see it soon.
Well, undoubtedly what I'm shooting right now is like the hardest thing I've ever done, ever.
Okay.
Like we're wrapping up like what has been a couple months of just really challenging in a lot of different ways.
And this is like 5-6 months ahead, though.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So this is like early spring stuff.
Yep. Totally.
Okay.
But it's been great. But before that, I would say the entrance was really really challenging. Just like coming back from the dead, there was so much that I was having to learn. You know, just as far as working in the soap world is so different than movies, and that's all I had been doing was movies and plays, and it's just, I was going from shooting 5 pages a day to shooting 55 pages a day.
Wow.
And you know, I mean, when you're working on a real movie, I don't know if you know this, but like you shoot 2 to 5 pages in a 12-hour day, and we shoot over 100 pages every day. Like people that hear in my film friends that hear how much we cover in a day, it's crazy. But then just the learning the whole, it was such a steep learning curve about like the amount of content, the kind of content was so emotionally weighty, and then like not fully knowing like people and not having people fully know me, like the pressure of trying to do a good job and keep producers happy and keep other actors happy and all of that. It was a really stressful start. I can look back and acknowledge that now. I would say that whole storyline, just the entrance and revealing myself to Chad and revealing myself to Missy and the rest of the town.
Right.
You know, those things were hard. You love them and you enjoy them in the end looking back, but while it's happening, it's a challenge. Yeah.
And I would imagine it might even be a bigger challenge in that respect, because you're coming at a character that, while there have been several Abigails over the years.
Sure.
Abigail is a core family character, and that generation, it represents that generation of the core family.
Absolutely.
So I think that was a big deal. She's a Horton, she's a Devereaux, now she's a Demira.
Right.
I mean, how many core families in one soap could she be a part of? Well, she's trying to max them out.
Right.
There are very few other characters that have that.
Yeah, that's what we were saying the other day. I think who was I sitting with? Like, who is Abigail not related to on the show in some, either via marriage or blood? You know.
Oh,
like,
via marriage also. I don't think there's anybody left.
Technically, like, related to pretty much everybody on the show. You know.
So she better not break up with Chad, because there's no one left for her to marry. Because they're all related to her.
Pretty much. They're all my buds.
And I have to admit, it's very funny, because we always think about that when we think about Days, especially. It seemed like everybody was very much related to everybody. It was it's very comical.
Yes.
You know, don't divorce. There's no one left for you.
There's literally nobody else.
You've married through everybody else because you're done now.
Yeah, unless we bring on some new characters.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned your films, and I know I've seen your short, the laundry.
Oh, Dirty Laundry. Oh,
Dirty
yeah.
Laundry.
Dirty
Oh my
Laundry.
gosh!
Yeah.
And I thought, I have to say, while I enjoy shorts, I was very engaged in that one. I was like, this is okay. And I believe I've seen another one. I apologize. I don't remember the name.
No, don't worry.
Are you working on any of the other film projects right now? I realize I'm going to say in your spare time.
That's okay. Yeah, right. That's a joke. My spare time.
But I know you were going to have a hiatus. I didn't know if you had something else you were working on, or you're just taking the hiatus and enjoying.
Yeah. Well, our hiatus this year. Last year we took off 2 months. This year we're only doing the 2 weeks. Okay.
I didn't know that.
So we're going to work all the way through. So there's not really time.
So this isn't Thanksgiving to New Year's again?
No, not at all. So we'll be off next week, and then we work 4 weeks straight, and then we're off for 2 weeks over Christmas.
Okay, so you're really just having like little breaks.
Tidbits, yeah.
Little breaks.
Yeah. So there's not really time to try to sneak anything in, and the industry really shuts down over the holidays in a lot of ways, unless there's a film that they're specifically have been planning to shoot over the holidays. So there's the new Children of the Corn movie. I was actually shooting and submitted a self-tape for this job for Days. So I shot Children of the Corn a year and a half ago.
Because I've just started seeing it publicized.
There was a little bit of a delay in the post, and then it's under the umbrella of like the Weinstein family.
So it's going to take some time now.
So it took a minute to but I did a lot of ADR post stuff a couple of weeks ago, so hopefully it's going to come out now finally next, or the first part of next year.
Now, are we going to see it released widespread, or is it going to be?
It's a good question. I mean, it's all up for. It's all like in negotiation now after things have been going on, and so I mean, it'll certainly do like the Netflix DVD thing at the very least.
Oh, okay, so that'll be good.
So it'll be out.
People will be able to see it.
For sure.
It won't be, it's in a festival and we'll never see it again.
Right, I don't think it'll be that.
That'll be good. That'll be good for a lot of us. And we see you doing a lot of photographs, a lot of, and they're stunning, by the way, very artistic. Sweet. So are you going to be doing maybe some modeling pieces also?
I don't know. You know, I kicked around the modeling thing a little bit at one point, not because it was my idea, but I just worked with somebody that recommended it, and as you're new to LA and you're trying to, you're eager to make money doing whatever, but I didn't enjoy it very much. There are certain photographers that I enjoy working with if the image I feel like tells a story in some way, or if like I always like to look at the photos and see and like wonder like what is that person thinking, what are they feeling, like there's a whole story that goes on in just like one single still shot, but I get kind of bored like with the like trying to show off my new jacket thing, you know, or like any sort of advertising, you know, that kind of modeling stuff I don't get really into, but things that are like rooted in story and character and all that stuff I'm really interested in. So I have a handful of people that I work with, and I'll always work with them because I know that that's they're artists trying to create something beautiful.
And there is artistry in the photos that you've been sharing.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Good.
Oh, definitely.
Good.
You look at those and wow, that's really special.
Yeah.
Because it's not only that, and I'm going to say this, and it's not meant to be make you embarrassed, right? But you're just the natural beauty shows through.
Oh,
and
thank you.
Then they have all these beautiful effects that are creative and interesting, very artistic.
Very artistic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was nice. That's why I was asking about that,
Totally.
to see if you saw more. We're going to see more
For
of
sure.
that.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
did a couple of shoots
Okay.
last week, and so there'll be some stuff that'll float out and all that junk.
Okay.
So, yeah, definitely.
And then finally, I wanted to ask you, I know you're very grounded in your home. You know, we've seen you go back to your hometown
Yes.
regularly, in fact. And when will you be able to do that during your break, like for the holidays, do a little visiting?
I think so. You know, over the last, our last hiatus just a couple weeks ago, I went home and did like I spent some time with my mother. I showed up and surprised her. She didn't know I was coming, and so like showed up on her doorstep.
And that's Indiana, right?
Well, my mom lives in Tennessee now,
She's
which is
in
where
Tennessee now. Oh,
she
okay.
that's where she grew up. I grew up in Indiana, but then once her kids, once my sister and I left, she moved back home. Where her family is. So that makes sense. Yeah, so she lives there, and then I did like a whole road trip up through Indiana by myself, and then hung out at the in northern India because I still have grandparents and uncles and aunts and cousins and stuff, so I hung out up there. And I'm hoping that I get back over the holiday. I'm definitely going to go to Tennessee at Christmas time, and then in a couple weeks, my husband and I are going to go back to Indiana to spend time with his family and kind of do Christmas then. Because we have a new niece, which is super. She's super sweet. Thank you. So we'll go meet her, little Lucy. And yeah, so there will be some time, and then we'll be here for the new year in LA, doing all of that sort of thing.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you one quick little question that I just saw. You said you have a new little niece. So working with a baby, you ready now to have the new little niece in your life too? Yeah.
Yes.
How was it working with a baby?
Oh, they're so
Babies,
easy. Oh my gosh, they're so easy.
They are. Oh,
yes,
great.
They're so easy, and I'm so grateful because I had a little sister, but not so little that I wasn't like changing diapers or babysitting. I didn't babysit really as a kid. So there's a lot of just basic, baby handling.
Right.
I don't know what you say, but that I just wasn't familiar with. But they're so easy, and I think unfortunately they're gonna have to, because they're girls. Like we're gonna have to.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're gonna have to be
switched out here. I think that's like that's part of the plan, like in the very near future. So probably in the next 6 or 7 months, there'll be somebody new airing that's a boy, actually. I know that's going to be heartbreaking for some people.
Has that already happened or not quite yet?
I've seen it on the schedule. I've seen somebody on the schedule, and that is a name that I don't know next to Thomas, which I'm assuming is the
new children.
Kid. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why else it would be there. So,
right.
So yeah.
Because I was wondering about that, because it's just so long you can have a little girl be a little boy.
I know, and I'm sure that their parents want to let them be girls too.
Of course,
let them grow their hair out and let them do their thing. Right,
and they made adorable boys.
Adorable boys.
They're adorable children.
So sweet. Oh my gosh, so sweet. And just like their demeanor is so easy.
Right.
They're just easy to get along with. Yeah.
Well, that was great. That must have been great, especially when you're dealing with babies. If you have trouble getting along. Yeah. So clearly they got along with you instantly, because that also comes across that they're comfortable with you.
Oh, good. I'm glad. You try to be present with them, and you kind of try to say hi. There's not a ton of time to hang out with them, but and you always wish for that, but I always try to find time to just get in there and hang out and chat with them a little bit.
Well, I've seen if they're cranky and I don't know if it was meant to be or it just accidentally would happen in a scene. But then if they go to you, they're like, oh, okay.
Oh, good. That makes me feel good.
It looks like they were going to mom.
Good. Oh, good.
The comfort piece.
There's a familiarity that I try to be familiar to them at least, if nothing else. So
I think it helps, and I think it showed. And goody. Is there anything else you want to share?
Oh man, what else should I share? Outside
that might be happening, or that you're looking forward to working with, or anybody you haven't worked with that you can just tell us I will be working with. That's up to you.
No, totally. Louise Sorrell comes in, and she's such a dream to work with.
So you did get to work with her, because we all know she's coming back. It's not like you're
right. That's already been announced.
uncovering
Same with
something.
Tyler Christopher is amazing. Like we get to work with him a little bit, and I hope I'm not saying anything I shouldn't say. But
So
it's,
just that you work
that's
with them.
it. We're
That's
working with them, and they're spectacular. They're like such perfect additions to what's going
And these
on
are
right now.
seasoned soap actors. You're not
For
working
sure.
with somebody who's never been on a set before.
Right, exactly.
So that must be a lot of fun.
Totally, and it's amazing how you learn. And I'm getting to work with different people. Like I worked with Deidre Hall for the first time, where we've had like our first like real chunks
really?
of scenes,
Yay.
and to die for. I mean, you just like these people don't probably realize that I learn from them and watch them work. But even
Right.
just simple things about the way, like Deidre does the blocking in the morning, and like how she, like justifies certain things, like where she feels like she should stand and what's comfortable, like from a story standpoint. She's just a really intelligent person, and it's really cool as a still relatively newcomer to the soap genre.
Right.
Watch her do all of that.
And you
know?
work with Melissa Reeves too, who's been
Oh,
on
man.
there, you know, for
Awesome.
decades also.
Awesome. Just a wonderful person, and adore working with her. And she and I have always just hit it off.
She,
really
she seemed to
easily.
really welcome you with open arms, and that was evident too, which really
Yeah.
made it helpful for us as viewers to say, oh,
Yeah.
it's okay, this is Abigail, we get it.
Yeah, and it makes a big difference. I was so grateful. Melissa and Billy both, like those are the two that I was so, and Teo, you know, like we're very welcoming and very open and out and not shy to say that they were welcoming publicly, and it really made the transition so much easier for me. And I can look back and say, wow, like I'm so grateful that they kind of went out on a limb to just say a couple little things like, hey, she's great working with this person. I really enjoy her.
And I even remember hearing them talk about it before you ever aired. Like when everybody knew that there was going to be a new Abigail,
Yeah.
all they kept saying, oh, and it's great. You're
Yeah.
going to love her. And I thought, okay, it makes me feel good, because then I knew I was going to love her
Yeah. Yeah.
as Abigail when
Yeah.
she showed up in Salem for real,
Yeah.
for us to see.
Yeah.
So that was really nice.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to thank you
Oh, thank
so
you.
much for joining me
Of
today.
course. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
This is
absolutely.
great, and
Love it.
had a lot of fun. And we look forward to seeing you for many, many, many more years
Yes.
on Days in Salem.
Yay. Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.